Yo, what's going on YouTube? Masif here from Click, and today we're back on Gran Turismo 7 doing some more time trials. This is for the new Daily Race A, which I think came out today or yesterday, November 16th, November 17th. So we are on Deep Forest Raceway, going the forwards direction, so not in the reverse. And the car we've picked here, which pretty much everyone else in the top of the leaderboards is driving, is the Viper GT3-R. I believe it's Group 3 cars that we are racing in here. So what we did here is we jumped in, we set a few laps. As you can see on the Odo down on the bottom left there, we drove about 30 kilometers already. Just getting warmed up, getting used to the car before coming on camera to do our lap times. And so we are going in here, setting our first corner, just trying to get used to the sort of roly-poliness of this Viper. This car doesn't like cornering, but at the same time, it feels like it handles them pretty well. The race is done, or I guess this time trial and the race is done on the racing medium tires. So you do have a decent amount of grip going through these corners, but it's really all about smoothly carrying the speed through the corners. It's very easy to put too much throttle, put too much brake, and end up understeering or oversteering at any point in any of these corners, which we'll probably see later on in the video. But as you can see here, just making it through nice and easy on our first lap. The record we ended up setting so far was a 1:29.5, as you can see in the bottom right corner. And coming up to the back straight here, trying to really maximize the corner exit speed, because you do lose or you can make up a whole ton of time on the back straight here. So as you can see, we're coming down through here at about 250 coming out of the tunnel, 245, and braking in at around the 110, 115 marker. So sort of between the 150 and the 100, you kind of have to judge it on your own. That last corner on this track is notoriously difficult because the car just feels like it wants to keep pushing outward. So you just have to make sure you're slowing down enough into that last corner to make sure the car rotates around properly. And as you guys can see here, we are coming up to the end of our first lap, which ended up being a 1:29.227. So that is the best time so far that we have set. And so going off of a good start to the session, we will continue through, set a few more laps, and I'll come back in a sec. All right, so as you guys can see here, coming up on the next lap, we did set an even faster record, which is nice, 1:28.876. Now, going through on this second lap here, or the third lap, I should say, I knew there was still time to be found, so I really wanted to just focus and dial in and really try to fix up my corner entry, corner exit, and smoothness on the inputs. But as you guys will see here on the next few laps, we didn't manage to do that. And just to take note here, look at the bottom of the screen there. We can see we started this corner at about 1/10 of a second ahead. We messed up our corner exit just by literally 2%. And you can already see as we're trailing down this straight here, just because of the length of the straight, you can see exactly how much time we're losing. We lost almost 2/10 of a second, coming up to 3/10 of a second now, just on a corner exit alone on that long straight. Obviously braking in a little bit too late, and car's not rotating around, missed the apex, and now look, we're over half a second slower than we were on our last lap. And in total for that lap, over a 7/10, sorry, I should say, slower than the fastest lap. So just a point there to keep in mind. You really want to make sure you're careful on your corner exit on that straight, because it will make or break your lap time, and it could put you a few hundred positions ahead or a few hundred positions back on the leaderboards. Obviously, also another important thing to remember when you're doing time trials and lapping is to make sure you stay within the track limits here. So as you can see, we did go off the track limits there, which basically invalidates this lap by adding up a half a second penalty. And the thing is, on this track, is you serve that penalty on that back straight, so that half second easily turns into 1.5 seconds. Generally speaking, if I get a penalty, I would probably restart the session, but in this case I decided to push through and continue driving with the penalty, just to continue the flow and not get try my best to not let this get the best of me basically while I'm on track. So let's forward a little bit here and see what happens on this lap. Now again, you take a look at the bottom of the screen there. We are obviously slower this lap, so about 0.6 of a second slower. We slow down for half a second, and if you look, timer just keeps dropping. We're now 0.6 of a second slower, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, almost a full second slower than the last lap because of that half second slowdown. So just keep in mind, it's very important, especially even when you're racing, to stay on the track, because it's not going to lose you just half a second because it's on that straight. You are going to end up losing 1 to 2 seconds. So just something to keep in mind when you're going around this track. Obviously, we finished this lap a little slower here at 1.5 seconds slower. So we're obviously off pace here. We need to dial back in and get ourselves back on track here. So the next lap in, we end up setting a 1:28.114, which is, again, our fastest time, which I was really happy about. But then from here on out, I just kind of let the ball slip a little bit on this session. As you can see here, almost losing the car and losing valuable time. So this session's not, or this lap, I should say, is not going to be another fast one. But again, like I said, I try my best to not let small mistakes ruin the rest of my lap. I still try to continue the rest of the lap and continue on to try and set as fast as lap as I can, and then try and set myself up for a really fast lap on the next lap. All right, so coming up to the last lap here, we do have a 1 second deficit on our lap. Tried to shave a little bit of time down there and ended up taking the wrong line and being now even slower, which would be about 1 second slower. And just taking a peek down there, lost my concentration, caught the curb, too much grass, spun the car out, and that's the end of this session. So coming out of that session, just taking a little break here, checking our ranking boards, see where we're at. Obviously, nobody's done it on my friends list. But if we're looking here, we are in the top 3,200 racers, which is really good. The distance between me and the top one driver is about 2 seconds there, 2.5 seconds, 2 and a bit seconds. Now, I don't think I can make the full 2 seconds up, but I definitely do think there is room for improvement. And so I jumped back into another session after a little bit of a break, stretched the legs, and we'll see how the session goes. So I chopped out a good amount of the session here, the last few laps. As you can see, we did 129, 130, and 129. So a little bit inconsistent, still within about a second, which is not bad, but I definitely could drive a little bit more consistently. Now we are on the fastest lap here for the overall session and for this video. So just keep track of what's going on here, what my inputs are. Honestly, the car moves so fast through these corners. It's difficult to keep track of what's going on. As you can see there, literally almost losing the car completely, but managed to keep myself under control and keep the composure, and end up coming out of that corner way faster than I was on my fastest lap. Now, with Gran Turismo and classic Gran Turismo fashion, you do have to abuse the living lights out of the track limits here. So as you can see, we are 4 wheels off the track, 2 wheels into the green, but according to the game, that's still on track, which I don't agree with, but it is what it is. Now, coming down the straight here, we are about 0.8 of a second faster than our 128.9, which was our fastest lap for this session, I should say. So we are creeping up on a faster lap time, and I just really wanted to make sure I pinpointed this braking zone here, really rotated that car in, hit the apex, and accelerate out properly. And as you can see there on the bottom, the time gap is growing ever so slightly, which means we did go around the track faster. And so coming up here, taking this corner, getting really close to the barrier, and on this right hand side again, making sure we don't run off the track to lose grip and end up spinning out. But as you can see, we finished the lap just at a 128.078. Now again, that was not my smoothest lap ever. As you can see here on the end of that corner, in the first corner there, I was excited that I set my new record and lost my focus. But as you can see, guys, this car is hectic, man. When you're trying to drive, especially around this section here, you have to be really careful with your throttle inputs. I found the fastest way to get it through is to actually lift off the throttle as you're going through those curvy bits, and just let the downforce kind of do its thing and get your car around. But coming out of this corner here as well, very difficult, very easy to spin the car out, especially if you're not doing or making sure that you're making smooth inputs, braking, steering, and throttle all at the same time. So unfortunately, we didn't manage to go any faster than a 128.078 for this session. Now, I recently have been changing up how I do my sessions. Instead of sitting there for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes straight and just getting fatigued and getting frustrated, I'll usually do about 2 10-minute stints and then take a break, step away from the game, go and eat something, drink some water, go for a walk, whatever, just to get my mind off of it and to sort of let the muscle memory sink in, instead of just trying to keep, beating myself over it and going through it and lapping and not getting any faster. I find the best thing to do is to take a break and come back to it. So as you guys can see here, we were not any faster. We're coming up to 1.5 seconds slower than our last lap. So I think that is enough for me to say that it's time to pack it up and kind of move on. So let's fast forward here a little bit. And again, coming up on here, finishing this last 3 laps, 129, 128, 128 high, 128. So nowhere near our fastest lap. Clearly the concentration has dropped. The fatigue not necessarily setting in, but definitely just need a little bit of a mental break and a physical break from the steering wheel. And unfortunately not going any faster in this session. So we'll just loop ahead near now and take a look to see what the position is for us when we finish this session and where we're standing right now. So obviously, I think a key point in being a good driver here is knowing when you're at your limit. And so we knew we were there when we hit that penalty. As you can see, we finished 3,073rd, and we're pretty happy with that outcome. So that's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, drop it down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.